We are going to hopefully turn it over to our students today. We had asked that you come prepared with some photos to share with us. Professor Lero has been showing off a photo from his hometown. Actually, before we do that, Professor Lero, are we good with photos? Do you have more to share?
Well, I have. Let's see. Last time there was some concern that I lived in a very small house. Hey, so I wanted to show. Let's see. I wanted to show the back. Let me see. I wanted to show the. Come back to me. I'm having trouble opening it.
And we also looked at Professor Marston's house. Any last thoughts, Professor Marston, on your home tour?
It looks a lot springier this week.
The weather is improving in Iowa.
Today we're having a temporary return to winter, but then I think, knock on wood, we may be done with it.
Okay, hang on. I'm nearly ready.
We need to pass the ball to you, Professor Lero.
No, it's okay. It's cooperating today.
I like that your dean is wearing a UTA blue shirt.
Now let's see. This is Joe Back, and let me just get the other one up. And this is.
So if the students would click on the tab that says Joe Back above the photographs, there we go.
Joe Back. Okay, good. Well, this is Anton. You recall that last week, and Vladislav, that we were talking about that my house looked very small from the front. Well, this is it from the back, and you can see that that it is quite large. We looked at the kitchen yesterday. These windows are the kitchen windows. And these windows down here are the windows of my office, where I am right now. I'm speaking to you from inside of those windows. And to show you the office, this is the office. And right now I am sitting in this chair in front of this computer. Right.
And I have been in that wonderful office. And in fact, just to the right of it, to the left of it, looking at the back of the house, is a guest room.
Right.
Where, when I have been a guest at Professor Lero's house, I have had a wonderful night's sleep.
I, too, have visited Joe at his house. And I remember seeing this as we went out into the backyard, in fact.
Right. Well, that's the end of the tour of my house. Oh. Valentina, do you have pictures of where you live that you could share with us today? Or are you just going to observe what the gentleman brought?
We may start with the gentleman.
Let's start with the gentleman.
I actually have one picture that I wanted to show before we get started in that, now that Joe got me going.
Go ahead.
You should see kitchen on 27th. This is the business end of my kitchen.
Kitchen on 27th.
This is where I spend a lot of my time, and it goes along with the place where I write. So the very large room that you saw the other half of, with the round of tables and the big windows, is where I write, and this is where I cook. Here to you, tell me what you see. That's what I'd like to know. What strikes your eye?
Vlad, what captures your attention in this photo?
I don't know. It looks pretty ordinary, just kitchen. Maybe just Russian kitchen a little bit smaller than this on the photo.
This might have been, well, because this house was built in 1890, kitchens tended to be rather large. People spent a lot of time in the kitchen, much more than I do. But there's really nothing much about this kitchen from 1890 that is left, except perhaps the floor. So I'm guessing.
Antoine asks, why are the fruits below the surface?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're out
yes,
of the way.
they are close at hand.
Are they real fruits?
They are real fruits.
I wonder, Anton or Vladislav or Valentina, do you know what this type of table is called? This kind of table? What is this kind of table called? It has an unusual name. This kind of table is called a butcher block or a chopping block. So does that give you any more information? What's a butcher block? What do you think of a butcher block?
Surface where you are when you are cutting the meat or something like that, or maybe fish.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a mental image of Professor Marston with a big meat cleaver.
Let's see. Butcher block, chopper block.
Okay, that's all I wanted to do, was just to let you see the other part of it and to see if there was anything that struck you as different from your experience.
Well, I'm wondering why there are these lamps are near the window. This is quite unusual.
I would say that this is a work light. It's for when you're working after dark. It illuminates the sink and some of the work area. There's also a light here above the stove. So this actually has lots and lots of light.
Tone, you have the microphone. Do you have a few photos you would like to share with us?
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yes. Shall we have you go first? With a name like Anton, you're always first in the alphabet.
Okay. I would like to show you my room where I'm sitting right now. I just need some extra light to show the picture. Maybe I can just, you can clear my experiment. Well, I would like to show you my room, and then I will show you some sites of our city with the incident. I guess this will be a little later. Okay. So the first one is not quite panoramic. Yeah, that's my sheet. IMG to 708. that's my layer, and as I call it. I don't know how to round it. Oh, I see.
Yeah, you can rotate it by using the rotation arrows at the bottom of the photo.
Yeah, that's my layer. You can see it's quite messy down here, but it's okay for me. It's only important to have a path from my workplace to the door, to my pad. Yeah.
I relate to that.
Hmm?
I relate to that.
And this goes back to our discussion last week about who's an organized person.
Not so favorite armchair, wheelchair, and I have how do you do in English? Jalousie. Yeah, it's Jalousie. Although I haven't seen them like that, they're just covering the whole frame. I just wanted to cover the glass. But anyway, a picture that would be so, yeah, my bookcases, they're a little bit they're from the right, from the previous picture. Yeah, there they are. Simple idea. Bookcases, Billy, you must have seen them yourself, and that's my small library. So you may also acquire some toys, and they just funny things that have memory connected with. Yeah. Besides, my mom still collecting some kids books, maybe for my kids. Okay. Some questions?
Excellent.
Oh, fun, thank you. next photo.
Well, Anton, how long have you lived here?
I have lived here. Oh yeah, sorry, 10 years. Okay. We moved to this apartment when after my grandfather's death, and previously we had a two-bedroom flat. Now it's 3 bedrooms. Yeah. And
And so when was that? When did your grandfather die?
2003. Yeah. Very long ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Okay. Huh?
And was this his apartment?
Sorry?
Is this the apartment where you live now? Was that where your grandfather lived?
Oh no. We bought it from another people. And we just moved there. Something like that.
Okay.
Next picture. Yeah, that's my desk, but I'm not sitting right here currently. Yeah. It's also quite messy, but I'm also okay with that. This is a lot of different stuff. I can show it to you. Yeah, it's just like that. That thing is aromatic lamp for how's that doing? Just a moment. Well, I use it to burn some oil, and there will be a nice smell. I just don't know how to describe it in English. I forgot the word. And
is that an oil lamp, Professor
oil lamp?
Lero? I'm not
Yeah,
quite sure
yeah.
what we would call it.
It's for fragrance. Yeah, that's it. As you say. Well,
it looks very much like a desk, doesn't it?
Maybe. Oh yeah, here's my favorite cup with Cowboy Bebop. You've already seen my presentation about five figures. And here's a Seth Keanu, a man from the internet, and put him there. So sad, and I don't want to listen to sad. Okay. Question?
What purpose does the oil lamp serve?
To burn the fragments. Because I like the smell. It's nice. Yeah. I can't say it's outstanding, but I like it.
That smell, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Is it perfume or incense? Something like
No, it's fragrance. And this is a lighter. Yeah, this is a lighter.
I see the lighter. I have one like that in my kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Usually people use them for gas salons, but I don't have a gas in my apartment as we have an efficiency oven. And this is yes, how would it be? Well, actually, it's an arm exerciser. You're just resistance band. Yeah, resistance band.
Right.
Yeah, I don't use it, but sometimes I use it when I'm waiting for something to download, and I have nothing else to do. So I'm just pushing it.
Who is this manga character on your cup?
Oh, I have already mentioned that. That's a cup with my favorite anime characters from Cowboy Bebop. You've already seen my presentation about Spike Spiegel. Here it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is the main female character, Fate Valentine. She's an adventurer too. What can I say? Huh?
Go ahead. I also have weights. I also have exercise equipment at my desk. I have weights that I get.
This is a little different because to do the exercise with a resistance band, you have to push it.
Grip. Exercise your grip.
Exercise your grip. This exercises my muscle, my biceps and triceps.
Now I feel lazy. All I have is a cup of tea.
Which gets lighter as you use it.
Yes.
Well, I remember I bought the cup 2 years ago. That was my birthday, and it was a present for myself. It sounds quite egoistic, but anyway, that's my favorite cup. Okay, next picture. If I have something else. Oh yeah, I have something else. Oh, that's a little bit brighter from my desktop. From my desktop. These are the books that I have to read, and this is the poster with Ghost in the Shell, one of my favorite animes. And I have some nice motifs on my wall, just some black holes. Yeah, the wallpapers are nice.
So I see you get to read Dostoevsky, yes?
Yes, I bought it recently. Yeah, there's Dostoevsky. Yeah, There was also Albert Camus, Jerome Kafka Jerome, Mario Puzo, The Godfather. Also
The Godfather, yes.
Yeah, The Godfather. Also today about Marquis de Sade and Pierre Gore and Benedict Spinoza, ethics. And my Cloud Atlas is waiting for me as well by Derek Mitchell because I adore the movie. By Camus, actually that would be the first book that I would read by Camus. Oh, thank you. I guess I would spend. Oh, here is also a Goethe file. When my girlfriend presented with me this into the new year, yeah, I was kind of glad. There are also some stickers, not stickers, but, well, yeah, it's stickers actually, from the game journal, as I used to buy them for 3 years, kind of mistaken, so I got plenty of them with the video games. Just in the shell, yeah, that's almost the final scene about the video tank. Okay. Any questions?
It's the wallpaper too.
Yeah, black hole or white hole, as you prefer.
So, are you taking a literature course, and that's why you're reading these this selection of books?
Oh, I wish I had a literature course like that because I'm reading them on my own wish. Usually, we don't study anything interesting in school or in the university, something really outstanding like Camus or like Remarque or like Pierre Gore, obviously. Okay. And a picture. And let's see. Oh, yeah. That's my pet. Actually, that's my student. And the Christmas tree. That's the 4th of January. Yeah, there it is. Her name is, as I called her, the Beast. And that's true, the Beast. But Mom and Dad called her Marusha. Yeah.
Can you type her name into the chat,
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Anton? Pet names are always interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Marusha.
Marusha, yes. Or the Beast, as they call her, but in some warm way. Well, actually, although my pet, she sometimes behaves awfully. She sometimes bites in my teeth, but she's just staying like that. Oh,
And how old is she?
She's 5-year-old.
5 years old.
I also can show you my house from the exterior. I have found a picture on the internet. There it is. There it is. That's my house. 13.7. You can see my windows that they're just the bushes are covering them. Yeah, but I'm right here. I'm on the first floor. Or on the ground floor,
On the ground floor, yeah.
I can also show you my house on the Google Maps. It's not a problem. Show you coordinates. It's not a big secret. Coordinates there we are. Well, I can say that this block apartment is quite old. It was built in 70s. As far as I know, it's 73 or 78. And I like it actually. But it doesn't have something extraordinary in case of planning.
Which is what?
In case of planning, in case of the space organization of the flats, yeah. They are just typical, yeah.
Zulioni Boulevard.
Hmm? Yeah,
That's the name of your street. That's if I just cut and paste the coordinates into a web browser.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's it. Yes.
When you talk about the organization, Anton, you talk about the floor plan of the house.
Yes.
The floor plan. That's sort of like the design.
Design. Okay.
The floor plan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a schematic looking down below the floor plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to I just forgot the word. Oh, thank you. But the majority of Russian houses are five-floor buildings or nine-floor buildings. There is also a great area in Omsk covered with cottages, exactly cottages, not houses.
See that your building is nearby Ulica Lukashevich. Who is Lukashevich?
Lukashevich is a member of the revolution movement in Russia during the revolution. I don't know exactly what he's famous for, by the way, and I feel quite ashamed about that, but I promise so.
I would have to look him up too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still have a lot of names of the revolutionaries, like any city or any town in Russia has a Lenin Street.
Right,
Lenin Prospect, for example, or Mira Street, or something like Red Street. It's just tradition that it's made during the Soviet period.
And Professor Marston has made a very interesting comment. So Anton is translating the Russian word dom, which we teach our students means house. Mm-hmm. But you're using the word dom as Russians would use it, Professor Marston, Anton, is to talk about the entire building. So he'll, that as you talk about his address, that entire building would be the dome, as opposed to a more self-standing house-like structure.
A dome in Russian also need not be a residence, because it can be a store like Dom Knigi, or it can be like a club like Dom Pisateley, but it's related to domicile and domestic. Yeah, exactly right. It comes from the same root, but it's house is an oversimplified translation. Good point.
I see we've been joined by Diana. Good evening. Welcome.
My name is Diana. I'm from Omsk. I'm glad to see you.
We are glad to see and hear you. Welcome to our group.
Welcome. We're talking, Diana, about where we live. And so if you would want to comment, I know that you may not have been prepared for this, but if you would like to comment about where you live, your home, or your surroundings, your neighborhood, feel free to do that. And if you have pictures, even better.
Well, Anton, do you have any more photos you would like to share? You've given us quite a collection.
Oh yeah, I would like to show you some statues around the Omsk. They were made by a man named Kapral. Perhaps Professor Leo has seen them when he was in Omsk. I would like to show them because they're something that you have never seen.
And if you could type the artist's name into the chat, that would be wonderful too.
Kapral.
And he is a sculptor?
Yes, he's an Omsk sculptor, and he's famous here in Omsk. Well, more or less. Many people don't know that all these statues and monuments are his job. That's a shame. Yeah. So the first I want to show you is this. Can you guess it? What it is?
That's got to be Don Quixote.
Don Quixote.
Yeah, exactly. That's Don Quixote. Just in front of the, let's say, just in front of the theater. That's two театры земного зрителя. The theater of the young viewer, I guess, the young audience. That's one of his most famous artworks. His heritage. That's why.
I want to ask Diana or Valentina, what is Don Quixote? In English we say Don Quixote. What is Don Quixote famous for? What was he famous for? Do either of you know? He's famous for jousting at windmills. Jousting means to fight with a lance. His weapon here is a lance, and a windmill, of course, is hardly an enemy. But jousting at windmills in English means to waste time, to do something pointless.
To have an imaginary enemy. Right?
To have an imaginary enemy.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Excellent sculpture.
There's more.
Did you see these when you visited, Professor Lero?
I don't remember this. I remember my favorite sculpture was the Sanitov, Stepan Sanitov, Stepan the plumber, who works.
Oh yeah, I got the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I see.
It's not actually Stepan, but I'll tell you the story about it. As I had a few years ago, I had an occasion in school to tell about my city in front of the English guy from Newcastle, and it was quite an experience for me. And then I understand that I'm somehow good at English. Wow! And that's why I decided to be an interpreter. Wow, that's such a very good moment. This picture is well known by a student from Law Academy at Semida. Also made by the fellow. Yeah. So Vlad and Valentina must have recognized it and say on it well.
And what do we call the thing over her eyes? What is that? Yeah, she has a blindfold, and why does she have a blindfold?
Because eyes can lie to you, and sometimes it's not very important. All you need to know is something that you have inside, you must deal with it, or something like that, metaphorically saying.
And metaphorically in English also we say justice is blind.
Exactly.
So justice doesn't matter who you are or what you look like or what your gender is or color is, that it's impartial.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Justice is always blind. Although this Lady Justice has a sword.
Yes.
I have to ask Professors Marston and Lero, do our Lady Justices have a sword? I know she has a scale.
I don't think so.
I don't think of anything so very warlike.
Well, I think that what author also wanted to say is that justice must punish those who break the law, and I think that's okay. By the way, have you noticed one feature about the couple of statues? They're all made of metal. Yeah, that's his main feature. Next thing I want to show is...
I just Googled some of our images of Lady Justice, and they all have swords.
Oh, do.
Wow.
I have never noticed that.
Yeah, and here's Slumber.
I have a version of him
Nice.
on my desk, courtesy of Professor Shestakov and Professor Lero.
Yeah.
I have a magnet of him, which is on my refrigerator.
Excellent. So we must hear the story.
Yeah, actually, this statue is dedicated to one of our previous mayors, to Mr. Rashupkin, and he is now doing business in Moscow. And yet, Kapral decided to dedicate him a statue like that. So Stepan is just lying on the street, and it's a place of pilgrimage to all kind of tourists now. Yes, exactly. It was established in the 80s, some of it.
He's climbing out of what's called a manhole, and and what covers the manhole is called a manhole cover.
Mm-hmm.
Why are manhole covers round and not square? Anyone? Why are manhole covers round and not square? There's a very good reason, an engineering reason.
Oh, well, it is connected to the dump system. So the water could flow right to the dump system, and that's why we need all these covers. Yeah.
No, well, why is it round and not square?
This is easier to carry.
Square. Why is it not square like this? Why is it not square?
Mm-hmm.
Because a square cover could fall into the hole.
Mm-hmm.
But a round cover cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I have never heard that. And he's got a pipe wrench as well there, right?
Yes. He's a plumber anyway.
Right. I think we would call that a pipe wrench.
So while we're talking about terms, I put it in the chat. This is one of the things that's been affected by political correctness. These are no longer supposed to be called manhole covers. They're now utility access.
Utility access points.
Utility access points. Oh.
At least you didn't say person hole covers, right?
Woman hole. Definitely not politically correct.
Utility access.
Utility access points.
Utility access points.
Sounds mad, actually.
Wow.
And the final that I would like to show you, I could show much more, but I guess I have to give the others the word, and that would be this. Yeah, that's the statue of Dostoevsky. was in front of the dramatical theater. Well, just the other side. Yeah. And he's guaranteed cross. Yeah, but but literally. As he cross.
So yes, he spent some time in prison in Omsk, as I recall.
Yes, he was imprisoned in Omsk because of dealing with revolutionary movement in the late 19th century.
Mm-hmm.
And he was spent in Omsk, but that was fortunate because otherwise he would be just shot on the square.
And that's a phrase we have in English as well, to bear one's cross.
Exactly. And the safety is bearing cross literally.
Ah, yeah. Professor Marston has the more frequently heard one, to have a cross to bear. Excellent.
Thank you.
Metaphorically, having a cross to bear means you have some kind of a heavy burden. And for people with tendencies to act like martyrs, we say, he always has a heavy cross to bear. And that's not a good thing.
Well, that's an allusion to Bible when Christ took his cross at the mountain.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, I feel I know something more about where you live and about Omsk in general. And
bit more.
Vlad, did you bring some pictures? Vlad, are you still with us?
Hello?
Hello.
I have a problem with pictures because I was prepared last class, but I thought that we finished with this topic, and I just delete all my photos from my computer.
No, I'm so sorry.
Photos of my room, of my city, of my apartment, everything.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that.
No, it's my fault.
So, would you have chosen any of the pictures of Omsk that Anton has presented?
Sorry?
Maybe you could give us some commentary on the pictures you have seen.
Anton is a very good narrator. He told everything.
So I want to know, do you live in an apartment building?
Yeah, I live in an apartment building on the 3rd floor. Oh, you know, I can show you one photo, just a part of my room, if you wish.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Anton, would you pass the globe to Vladislav, please?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Fine. Fine. Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Can you see? So, this is my workplace, and it looks kind of careful, and you're lucky devil to see this, because usually it's mostly like a creative chaos, There's always a lot of printed paper, printed laws, documents, stickers with a task to do, schedule, absolutely chaos on my desk. Above the computer, you can't see on this photo a few shelves with books. Of course, it's books like civil law, criminal law, and other stuff. Also, some kind of ordinary books, and thousands and thousands printed pages again. So what else? Also, at the time of break time, I listen music here and watch some videos. Sometimes eat. So this is my workplace.
And what kind of computer is that?
What do you mean?
What is that? Is that a Dell or a Hewlett Packard or? You're talking about screen is Samsung, and my computer is contains other parts from other. How to explain?
So you built it yourself? Did you assemble it yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, very talented.
Mm-hmm.
Professors Lero, Marston, and I all use Macintoshes, which require no assembly.
Macintosh is not so popular in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Windows computers everywhere.
It's really nice being a Mac user. Means that there is almost never any technical problem. And if there is, then I call up the Apple store and make an appointment and take my laptop in to have them look at it. But usually they will say, "Oh, have you tried this and that?" And usually they can help avoid that trip. So what makes you a skeptic about Mac users, Anton?
Well, the situation in Russia that has occurred so that Mac products are 2 or 3 times more expensive than in America. So
10 times. 10 times.
or even 10 times. I'm not quite sure about that. And usually, Mac users are boasting about using that they're using Mac.
That may be true in the United States
here,
as
I
well.
have an iPhone. Wow, you have an iPhone. You're old poor guys. I'm better than you. Okay, fine. Nobody cares. Or they're trying, not to care.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, all 3 of us have iPhones.
We have iPhones. I have an iPhone.
Guilty as charged.
Oh, you.
And happy as a clam.
Okay.
Happy as a clam.
It's more functional in my opinion.
Happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Another issue is that it's very hard to get Macs repaired in Russia, correct? When they break down, Russians have told me that sometimes it's very hard to get Macintoshes repaired.
yeah, you have to put them in service and pay some more. And speaking about the PC, rather usual PC, you can just put the thing out and put the new one, and it will start to work. Or sometimes you have just to vacuum it, and it will just look as well. Miracle.
But it's not only about Apple, because sometimes technical support in Russia is not good. Any kind.
Very nice. Did anybody else bring photos with us, or do you have any more, Vlad?
To be frankly, I was wrong about homework for today.
You had mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, I prepared not what I'm waiting for.
Okay, we have Elena joining us. Elena, good evening to you.
Good evening, Elena.
One of the things that we had talked about was talking about the difference between living in a living in a city or living in the country. And that's the next thing we might consider. And for me, I have lived in large cities and in small towns. We don't really talk about villages here. A village is I would think of it almost as describing somewhere that is not American. Maybe this is just me. And so, Vlad, what about it? Do you think you would prefer living in a city? I mean, we don't always choose where we live. I am at the point where I can choose where I live. And I have chosen to live in a smaller city. It's not really a town as such, although some people would argue about that. So if you could choose where you lived, Vlad, would that be in the city or the country or in a small town?
Okay. To be honest, I prepared presentation for today about particular city of particular country where I don't mind to live, and it was difficult to decide where I want to live because first part of my life I live in big city, and now I'm still living in a big city. And also the main reason of my difficulties because I was almost nowhere, and I have nothing to compare where is the best place to live. I live in Omsk, and it's one of the on the one hand, it's a large city, one of the biggest Russian cities with a 1,150,000 population. But in fact, it's a very small town because there's no tall buildings, business centers, and living in Omsk seems to me very slow, very calm, sometimes very lazy. And I would say that Omsk is a large village with 1 million people and not a city. Yeah. I was in Moscow, and Moscow lifestyle seems to me much restlessness, aggressive, depressive, compared with Omsk. And at the same time, I dislike Omsk, but I like it for it's not a fast and flashy city as other cities where I was, for example, Moscow. But at the same time, I also can't live far away from civilization in a village, and that's why I wish to live in a big and modern city, but pretty quiet and cozy town.
Mm-hmm.
So just like
you want to have it both ways.
yes, yes. So it's my opinion.
I can appreciate that. And so, what would there be about a small town or a village that you would find attractive? What would you like about living in a small town? Now you get to imagine, since you haven't lived in one.
I'm not talking about such attributes as the size of the city or population of the city. First of all, I mean convenient environment for me. It's I don't know how to describe it. Just when you feel yourself good and because sometimes when you move, when you come first time on to the any cities and you have never been here before, but you feel yourself good. It's a very strange feeling, but I think you just should enjoy where you live. It's easy.
There was a woman years ago who's named Jane Jacobs, and she wrote a very famous book called The Death and Life of American Cities. I'm doing this in the chat here for you, The Death and Life of American Cities. And Jane Jacobs said that the cities that were the most vital, cities that were the most satisfying to the people who lived there, were ones that had a variety of ages. Some buildings were old, some buildings were new, and a variety of uses. That there were residential corners, and there were commercial corners, and that what made the city alive was this mix of uses and styles and ages. That this was good, and cities that were homogenized, that were all industrial, for example, or all residential, as some suburban cities are in the United States, were not congenial places to live. And Vlad, my experience in Omsk was that it was that kind of city. It was mixed. There were old areas of the city and new areas of the city. That there were recreational opportunities in Omsk, both within the city and in the countryside nearby, and a variety of uses. There were commercial areas and academic areas, that sort of thing. And I found it a very congenial municipality. plus it has the Santechnik coming out of his utility access point. So that's a touch of whimsy that makes it, you know, for a city to entertain something like that. Well, it's like Austin. In Austin, we have in a prominent place in the center of the city a sculpture of a bat. A bat. The Tuchimish, a bat. And because we have a colony of bats who live under a bridge in the city. So and in a city that will honor a bat or a sanitary worker, there's got to be an inviting place.
I actually brought some pictures of Arlington. Shall I put some of those up?
Oh, yeah.
Vlad, if you could pass the ball to me.
Of course.
So that was very interesting to learn from Professor Lero what types of cities thrive and survive. So I live in Arlington, Texas, and just so everybody knows where that is, we are, can you see the map of Texas there?
Mm-hmm.
We are between Dallas and Fort Worth. So we've got...
And, excuse me.
Yeah.
And notice that Austin is where Professor Lero is, and it's just to the south.
Mm-hmm.
And by just to the south, Professor Marston, who's lived in Texas, is not fazed by the fact that that's 200 miles or about 300 kilometers.
And I want to point out just a little footnote. My arrow is pointing to the place where West Texas is located, the city of West, which was the site last week of a catastrophic explosion, a factory explosion, in which 14 or 15 people were killed. And I always stop in West when I go to Dallas, because West is, there are many Czech immigrants, people of Czech descent who live in West, and they have very good kolaches there. It's famous for kolaches.
And I should point out that Texas is very large, right? This is a joke that we sometimes say. Everything is larger in Texas. The distance between Dallas and El Paso is about, I think, 600 or 650 miles, so almost 1,000 kilometers. So we can travel from Dallas or from Austin 1,000 kilometers and still be in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I brought you some pictures of things that Arlington is famous for. And we're a very mixed city. We have some residential neighborhoods, we have some business and industry, but if you asked a kid in the state of Texas what Arlington is famous for, they would always say, well, Arlington is where Six Flags amusement park is. And we are one of the places in Texas where you can come and ride. What would we call that big ride there? What would we call that in English? You get on a car and it will ride you. What would we call this? Yeah, we would call it a roller coaster. I have to I have to tell you, I have never been on a roller coaster. I am a big chicken. Professor Lero, are you a roller coaster rider?
Well, I was in my youth, but I think those I'm going to enjoy roller coasters as a memory.
And
I like roller coasters. Yeah.
There are all sorts of rides here. This one here is a parachute drop, where you get in and it drops you maybe 70 or 80 or 90 feet, and before it pulls you back up with a parachute. So very, very famous for kids, but probably the most famous thing in Arlington is this picture, which I will load here in 1 minute. And that is because of these two places that are very close together. Who can tell me what these are? Anton, your microphone is open, isn't it? Do you recognize what these locations might be, Anton?
Obviously, these are stadiums.
Yeah, and what sport would be played at the one that's in the front?
In the front, I guess it's football, American football. Handball, as they call it in the U.S.
Well, actually, the one in the back is the football stadium.
Oh, but perhaps in the front is baseball, huh?
And the one in the front is baseball. Yeah, that's Texas Rangers Stadium. So the Texas Rangers play there.
I thought about that. Yeah.
And that's their stadium. And baseball stadiums are much more likely to be open, like that one is. In the major leagues. Now, in high school football stadiums are oftentimes open, but the professional football stadiums tend to be closed. So that's the Texas Rangers baseball stadium, and it's very new, and many people go to look at it as a work of architecture, not just a stadium, because it's very interesting, and you cannot see all of the details, but it's a very appealing or pleasant stadium. The one in the back belongs to what team plays in Dallas? What team plays American football in Dallas?
America's team.
America's team, right. That's the stadium of the Dallas Cowboys.
While it was called God's team.
Yes, or God's team. Now, this is very interesting that the Dallas Cowboys have their stadium in Arlington. Dallas is about 20 kilometers away, but there was a big competition for the cities in the area to lure the stadium away and say, come to Arlington, you'll pay fewer taxes, and the traffic is better, and the roads are better, and so we convinced the Dallas Cowboys to build their stadium. One of the things you cannot see is how big it is, but from the top to the bottom of this stadium, you could put the entire Statue of Liberty, the American Statue of Liberty, would fit right in this stadium from top to bottom, and it would not even touch the roof. So that's how big this stadium is. You can see it for 50 miles. You can see it from space. So when you're looking to find Arlington from the International Space Station, you look for Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and you can see it. And it is brand new. It's only been here about 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, the baseball field, the ballpark in Arlington, they call the ballpark.
The ballpark, yeah.
The ballpark was President George W. Bush was connected with the ballpark, but I can't remember how.
He was a part owner.
He was a part owner.
Part owner of the team. And some years the team is very good, some years not. We have been to the World Series, I think, what, twice now in the past few years. So we actually had some World Series games right here in Arlington. That stadium is about 2 kilometers from campus. You can walk out of your office and go to the baseball stadium. So on opening day, which was just a few weeks ago, it's very quiet on campus on opening day. Many people from campus are on vacation or working at the stadium that day, and will go out to the stadium to watch the Texas Rangers play.
Speaking of baseball, I would commend to the students the film 42. A very recent release in the United States, but it's the story of Jackie Robinson, who was the very first Negro baseball player. But it's a story of him, and it's the story of Branch Rickey, who was the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, who had the courage to hire Jackie Robinson as the first major league Negro baseball player, and the film is it's a very, very good film, and it's not very flattering, it's not very gentle in its depiction of racism in the United States in the early 50s. And it'll give you a very good picture of how far we have come in the last 50 years in the United States. 42 was Jackie Robinson's number. It was the number that he wore on the back of his shirt.
And in fact, on a recent day in the major leagues, many of the players wore that number, didn't they?
Yes, that's true. I think it was the anniversary of his death or the anniversary of his birth, one or the other.
I think last week, yeah.
Yeah.
And last week I showed my house, which Kostya, I think, said looked like a Russian oligarch lived there. I thought I would share a picture of a very typical house in Arlington, Texas. You'll remember that my house was different from Professor Liro's house and Professor Marston's house in its building materials. Who remembers what the building material is for these houses in North Texas? What do we call that building material that's right there? Not wood, but close, Anton. Bricks. Bricks, yeah, very good, Vlad. There's a lot of construction in brick. In North Texas, here where I am, remember we're to the north of Austin, it's a little bit colder, and so we have fewer wood house structures, more brick up here. And you see very typical up here would be a lawn. We are not very environmentally friendly in that respect. People will water their lawns. People will spend a lot of resources to get a green lawn, or maybe have some landscaping around their house. And I think I shared my green lawn with you as well. Another thing we are very famous for in this area is our, let me see here, springtime weather.
Goodness gracious.
What kind of map is that we are looking at here? Who knows what type of map this is?
Weather.
Yeah, it's a weather map. I always like the phrase color weather radar. since weather may or may not have color. Arlington is right between Dallas and Fort Worth, but frequently in the spring and summer, very, very large thunderstorms sweep into the North Dallas area. And so this shows a very violent storm. So red would mean there is probably hail. Purple, hail and winds, and in some cases tornadoes. And in fact, I was very, very close to a tornado last year. This is the storm from April of last year. There was a tornado that was about 250 meters from my house. It literally landed down in the neighborhood nearby to where my house was. And I was in the house, and my wife called me on the phone and said, "Don't go outside. There's a tornado very close to you." And when we came out, there was all sorts of damage and all sorts of debris in our yard. But it did not hit our house, just a little bit of damage to the roof. So we are famous for very, very violent storms. And so maybe this is one of the reasons I always ask about the weather in Austin and in Omsk. And I will show you, go ahead, Professor Marson.
While you're still there, where my pointer is where I lived for almost 20 years, not too far from where Professor Smith was.
Oh.
The brick houses, it depends on where you are. Actually, in different parts of the country where wood is more plentiful, people build houses out of wood. Brick is common on the plains. There are lots of brick houses in Des Moines. And that has to do with the fact that this is not a heavily forested area. So
there's
brick is more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Go ahead.
Because wood would have to be shipped in, you see, and that increases the cost. There's a famous children's fairy tale, The Three Little Pigs, that tells the story about building a house of bricks. You may want to look that up sometime when you have time. The Three Little Pigs.
Okay. So can everybody see the house with lights there? What season do we think that might be? What time of year might that be?
December.
It would be December, yeah. And what types of lights are those? What holiday would we celebrate in December?
Christmas.
It would be Christmas, yeah. And we are very famous for a neighborhood in our area that has everybody decorates their houses, and it's a neighborhood known as Interlaken. And this is what all the houses there look like when you drive through that neighborhood. And I lied. I'm going to show one more photo. I mentioned that we had a tornado touchdown in Arlington last year. This is a picture of that tornado. So my house is almost exactly under where that tornado is. This is the highway that my daughter drives to school. And this was a motorist. All the motorists on this highway could see the tornado coming, and many of them stopped and turned around and started driving the other way. So you'll notice that in all of the lanes, all the cars are driving away from the tornado.
Uh-huh.
This was on April 3rd last year, so 1 year ago. several weeks ago. As I said, we were not, I was in the house, but we were not damaged, but some houses very near to us were. And Professor Marston must have typed Tornado Alley. We are in a part of the United States where tornadoes are very common, and so all during the spring months, frequently the tornado sirens will go off, or we'll be told, go to a safe place in your house or a safe place in your building because there is a tornado near you. So we get very used to that. But this is a picture of the Arlington tornado in April of last year. Well, we are just about out of time. Do we have any last questions or comments from our group today? Some wonderful presentations.
Good presentations. Very nice. Very nice. And Professor Marston, what are we doing next week? What is our plan for next week?
Just putting me on the spot.
I think several of our members may still bring photographs.
Yes,
Right.
I suspect. Let's see, I see that, I'm sorry, but we'll have to communicate that to you in writing. There will be something to look forward to. And if you didn't have pictures to show us today, it would be really nice if you would bring them. And we will probably continue talking to that. Let's see.
And in particular, Diana and Valentina might bring pictures and talk about their home and their city next week. If the two of you might bring and prepare for those, that would be wonderful.
That would be a very good way to get started, ladies. You get an idea today of how you might approach presenting your pictures. Very much the way you would meeting someone, meeting a stranger. And we hope that you will not be strangers to us.
Excellent. It will let us get to know you better.
Good.
Well, thank you all. Good presentations, good discussion today, and we'll see you all next week.
Sorry that we will miss you.
I will be in the dentist rather than Moscow. I would rather be in Moscow.
Tell your dentist that.
I will. He knows I'm not a dentist fan, a fan of the dentist.
And on my way out, I will say I have projected a picture of downtown Des Moines, and I will talk about it again next week.
Right.
So thank you for coming, everyone.
See you all next week. Have a good week.